So how is British business reacting this evening? Well, with me now is Stephen Phipson. He's the Chief Executive of the manufacturers organisation, the EEF, and the Institute of Directors, Director of Policy, Edwin Morgan. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Stephen, let me start with you. This is not signed, sealed and delivered yet. The deal is written, it's not signed. We have to get a full agreement before the transition settles.
We do. So we're looking for a ratification of this on the 23rd, later this week. But we saw this as a very good step forward today, and particularly we like the fact there was give and take on both sides to get us to this point. So from the reaction from business has been quite positive to today's news.
But Edwin, given that this isn't signed, sealed and delivered, do businesses still have to potentially plan for a no-deal scenario?
Well, this is about another stage in hopefully an orderly process out of the EU. So this will help. It will help prevent businesses from having to take the really drastic decisions that we wanted to avoid. But there are still many stages that has to be ratified, has to go through October final legal ratification. And then we also need to know exactly what this transition phase will look like. We've been told standstill, but there are a few details still to be peeled out.
So, Stephen, the transition period is 3 months shorter than the UK government was looking for. Is that an issue as far as you're concerned?
Well, you know, there's lots to do between now and the final arrangements, and in many respects, from a point of view of business, the longer the period of certainty, whilst that is going on, the better. But of course, we'll have to see how the negotiations go. As I said, I was quite positive by the fact that we saw lots of give and take in this phase. So hopefully that's going to be the spirit in which we're going forwards here.
Is 21 months going to be enough, though, for businesses to get everything teed up?
Well, it depends how, again, it all depends. It depends how this negotiation unfolds from this point. Typically, if you look at free trade agreements, they take a lot longer than that period to negotiate. But we are looking for a unique and special arrangement going forwards here. And that's what the government is promising, and we will be there to support them to try to do that.
Edwin, the freedom to negotiate free trade deals during the transition period, I mean, that is a major tick in the box for the UK, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think as Stephen was saying, it's a bit of a pragmatic give and take from the EU as well. I think there, trade deals do take a while, so in the meantime, we should be focusing on actually the areas of kind of cooperation we can do with countries like the US, which fall short of a trade deal. There's loads of stuff the government can be doing now, and actually the Department of Industrial Trade is doing some good stuff. So don't always just focus on the free trade agreements. There's stuff we can be doing to boost trade in the short term.
Of course, this 21-month period, the UK is going to be, in the words of Jacob Rees-Mogg, a vassal state. We will be a rule taker, not a rule maker.
I think we perhaps always knew that this was going to be the way transition worked. It was a necessary thing we had to have happen in order to prevent businesses from having the hard falling out next year or this year. It's a stage. We are leaving the EU. I think all of our members accept that. We know we're working towards a different relationship with the EU. It's just make the process as smooth as you can while we get there.
One area that seems to be getting a lot of people's backs up tonight is that there doesn't seem to be much protection for the UK's fisheries. Now, albeit it's a very, very small part of the economy, but it's still hanging out there unsettled as things are.
I think that's probably going to happen with quite a few different sectors as we go through this process. Our members, when we ask them about it, they want a deal which covers all sectors, the whole of the UK. So there's going to be difficult moments like that where one sector is feeling, we're being left behind. But ultimately, the deal has to focus on the whole economy, whole of the UK, and what's best for all of us.
Stephen, it looks like the UK's given ground on Northern Ireland. We now have this backstop position whereby there's a soft border between Northern Ireland and the Republic. I mean, that's something that Theresa May said no Prime Minister could agree to.
I think it's another example of the give and take that's been really a characteristic of getting us to this point. And in many respects, that is a good thing, and we'll see that going forwards. Of course, this issue around the borders and around customs arrangements has yet to be resolved. There's a lot of hard yards to go before we end up with a negotiation there. And I think what we're looking for is something that's very unique and very innovative and very different to the sort of models that exist at the moment. So there's quite a lot of work to do to resolve that. And of course, there's a great deal of hope that those backstop situations will not occur, but they've written that in as a backstop effectively.
So what's the next landmark that you're looking out for?
Well, we want formal ratification of this, so we've got the first council meeting happening this week to say that that's green light, and then we've got the formal ratification later in the year of the transition agreement. In the meantime, there's a lot of work to do. So business working closely with government to work through the details of how we negotiate now is a very important part of the next steps in.
All right, Stephen Phipson. Edwin Morgan, good to see you both. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.